What's up, everyone? Silas back again. And today I'm going to be teaching you guys or discussing vibrations and frequencies and how they align with spirituality and just health in general, and how we are all running at a certain frequency and we are affected by frequencies and radio waves. So, on a scientific level, humans and most things that are matter, things that have mass, things that we can see with our own vision and that are put into this universe that have mass are made, of protons and electrons and molecules. And all of those things run at a frequency, a certain frequency. Some frequencies are higher than others. And I'll break down what the difference is. So a vibration refers to the oscillating and vibrating movements of atoms and particles caused by energy. So the energy, the intensity of the energy really affects the amount of movement of the atoms and the particles. Frequency refers to the rate at which these vibrations and oscillations occur. So the higher the frequency, the higher the vibration. Kind of, pretty simple. And so since we are all affected by this, there's certain frequencies that can be damaging to us and certain frequencies that can be positive to us. And depending on what you're exposed to more often than not, your frequency will reflect that. Let's see. For example, radio frequencies, waves used by mobile phone operators are more of a danger to our health. So your cell phone puts out frequencies that are more often than not dangerous and detrimental. It can cause things like cancer, dementia, things like that. Let's see, I got a note card on that. A study from the International Commission of Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection reports that people who use their cell phones in excess of 50 minutes per day face early dementia or thermal damage due to the burning of glucose in the brain. I mean, that's just the science to it. So, what we're exposing ourselves to and on a radioactive, like on a frequency basis, has an extreme effect that we don't even realize. It's kind of an invisible effect on our bodies. We can cook ourselves by just being around too high of a frequency. If you're in a room where you have 10 people on their cell phones at once, you have all of the frequencies from those cell phones pumping throughout the room, and basically what you have is a mini microwave. And it's pretty crazy to think about on a scientific level, and it's more than just spiritual. Like, this is real raw science. You can look this up yourself. I just did. I mean, that's what half these note cards are, is I looked up the information. I already knew it, but I just wanted to be sure of what I was saying. Positive frequencies. Now, there's negative frequencies that affect us on a spiritual level, and if we get too low of a frequency, it can be detrimental to our health. But there's frequencies that are positive for our health too, that can help with things like manifestation, healing, and aligning your 7 chakras so you can open your crown chakra, which is, running at your highest frequency. So positive frequencies between 62 and 72 megahertz. So our bodies, usually when we're at a healthy level, that's the frequency that we're running at, between 62 and 72 megahertz, which is, a positive vibration that our bodies and our molecules and protons and electrons and all that good scientific mumbo jumbo is running at. If our bodies drop to a lower frequency, it can put us into a mental and physical illness as well as disease. So yeah, I mean, you keep your vibration high, you stay mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, physically healthy. But if you lower your vibration, you can become mentally ill. You can become, docile. People can lose their motivation. People will just be completely knocked off track if their vibration is too low. And as I said, there is a lot of different things affecting this. If you're putting yourself around technology, all day, the frequency from that is affecting your body on a molecular level, and more than just mentally. It is like the cells in our body cannot handle the frequency that we are exposing ourselves to. Things that affect our frequency levels include our thoughts, positive thinking. It was very important to maintaining a high vibration and not allowing yourself to get too caught up in negative thoughts, because that will lower our vibration, and sometimes it can make life even harder just to simply go out and achieve things if you are being negative all the time. The food that we eat, how much sun we get, and overall what we surround ourselves with. Now, I firmly believe that if you raise your vibration high enough, you really can change your life. You can change your whole perspective and outlook on everything. It becomes actually much harder to become genuinely angry or frustrated when you raise your vibration high enough, when you are aware of everything on a spiritual level, which is essentially what happens when you raise your vibration high enough. It becomes easier to cope. It becomes easier to recognize things for what they are, instead of getting caught up in our own mental loop that we get, that we kind of put ourselves into. Because sometimes what happens is you have one negative thing happen, and then you start to think about it negatively. And then, with that negativity comes more negativity when, it's just a little bit. It's like a sprinkle of negativity. And most of the time, it's harder for us to identify positivity if we are having a negative mind state or running at a negative vibration. And it's a lot harder to connect with ourselves too on a spiritual level if we are running at a lower frequency. So focus on my advice from this is focus on what energy you're exposing yourself to. Be careful around cell phones and modern technology. Those things, especially cell phones, game consoles, TVs, things like that, they all put out radio frequencies that are more often than not artificial, or are running at an artificial frequency that is not natural to us. Our bodies can't really handle it. Our bodies can't recognize it, especially our brains. Our brains are like little radio antennas that are connected to the electromagnetic field, right? And this is a whole nother video that I'm going to be jumping into, is the electromagnetic field and how our brains are connected to it through vibration. But that's a good video too that I'm looking forward to making. But that's besides the point. My point is that the frequency that you run at affects your whole entire health, and your mental health, your physical health. So be aware of what frequencies you're exposing yourself to and what frequency you might be running at, and do things to try to reverse a low frequency. That means eating whole, unprocessed foods that are healthy for you, drinking a lot of water, getting some sun, going for walks, reading, writing, meditation. There's a lot of things that you can do to raise your own frequency. So I recommend that. And I guess that's really all I got to say. Yeah. Peace.